live. This is Law Call.
And good evening, everyone. It is Law Call, and I am back. I've taken a little bit of a hiatus. I'll give you some details on that as we go through the evening, but we're here and we're live. 850-392-1544 if you want to give us a call. Tonight we're talking about crime and punishment. You can also, if you don't want to be on air and you want to send us an email, it is lawcall@wmbb.com. LawCall, that's all one word, at wmbb.com. We're going to be taking your questions live tonight on air, as usual. We're going to be simulcasting with WDHN up in Dothan, Alabama, Facebook Live. We've got it all tonight. But let me introduce you to our guest tonight. We've got Mr. James Dogle, who is a local lawyer here to Bay County, but also handles the panhandle as well. You mean you go all over the place. James, welcome back.
Thanks, Larry. It's great to be here with you. I certainly appreciate you and Chris and the guys always having me on here. It's always fun.
You know, for those of you who saw the tease on our website and Facebook, Chris Young is supposed to be here. Hollywood was supposed to be here. But it gives me an opportunity to kind of get back in the studio, get my feet back up under me. For those of you who don't know, I had a medical issue that took me out from about May all the way to mid-July. I just got clearance to return to work a few weeks ago. Happy to be here. Everything's healthy. Everything's good.
You look great.
Well, thank you.
You wouldn't know.
I'm propped up with enough makeup and, you know, lost a lot of weight. I think I needed to do that anyways, but thank you. I appreciate that. Tough go of it, but a lot of folks stepped in, helped out, built it back up, and next week I'm going to be in trial, not this upcoming week, but the week following. I'm going to be in trial in Fort Lauderdale. So we're going to give it a roll. I'm about pretty close to 100%, so we'll see how we're doing and see how we can kind of transpire everything and move through it. But James, since you know, folks may not remember you, tell us a little bit about what you do and where you work and your area of operation.
My name's James Dogle. I primarily practice in Panama City, but I do handle the 14th Circuit, which is the outer counties in the area, which consists of Washington, Holmes, Jackson County, Calhoun, Gulf. And my office is conveniently located about as close to the courthouse as what you can get.
Without being in the courthouse.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, James, you got a wife and children. Tell us a little bit about that.
I have two amazing little girls, Isabella and Olivia, and of course my wife Shay. And Olivia is getting ready to turn 5, so she's been talking about that. She turns 5 this month.
You think she's going to be a lawyer?
I hope not.
Yeah. Well, she's a fan of the show and a fan of Perry and Young, so.
Yep. She sees the billboards all the time and goes, "Dad, that's your friend, Mr. Larry."
Yep, and I'm happy to be happy that she's a fan. We're going to have to get her on here one night. You know that's coming, right? So she's going to have to come on. Folks, we got an email question. Let's go to that real fast. We've got the email question. There it is. Well, this is more of a civil case, but let's kind of go over this. It has a little bit of a criminal context to it. We're going to talk about it as well, James. I was in an accident with a driver who just straight up drove off. Do I treat it like an uninsured driver and hope for the best? Of course, I need to explain what that is. The officer who showed up wasn't really helpful. Okay, I got the make and only a few last letters, couple letters of the license plate. What should I do? Todd. Well, Todd, there's a variety of things that you can do. I'm going to talk about the civil side of it. I'm going to flip it to James here in just a moment, talk about some of the criminal aspects of it. Of course, criminal meaning that you're not going to be charged, but if they are able to track down this driver, that this driver would be charged for leaving the scene of an accident. You know, hopefully, first of all, Todd, you're okay, but if you're not okay, you brought up something called uninsured motorist. And uninsured motorist is available when somebody either, like this situation where there's been a phantom vehicle. We don't know who that person is yet. You've got a little bit of identification information and apparently you have some damage at least to your vehicle. The uninsured motorist coverage is in the event that you've been harmed physically. Your body has been harmed. As we say, you've suffered a personal injury. If you don't have that, and we hope that you don't, and it's just automobile damage to your car, then it's going to have to be under a comprehensive policy or a collision policy. We can explain the difference between the two. If you have a question about the civil side of it, you can give our office a call during regular business hours tomorrow, and we'll be more than happy to answer the questions for you. And if you are injured, it might behoove a personal injury lawyer to then go seek out and send an investigator out to see if there are any videos along the way. And depending on where you are and where this occurred, there could very easily be videos that are being recorded by the state of Florida, or maybe through some county or through some city. Now, a lot of the county videos here in Bay County are not kept, meaning they're not, they're recorded and they're recorded over so quickly you really can't get to it. But convenience stores, gas stations, places like that, if they're along the route or along the way, they have continuous video surveillance. They probably are not going to get a license plate, but they'll help identify the make and model of the vehicle, and then also can help bolster your case in the event that you are injured. You now have the make and model leaving the scene or going past a certain service station at a certain time, or going past a certain business at a certain time. Even if it's in a residential area, Ring doorbell cameras now have become a good, big thing. Maybe you can get out and find some of that information that will help bolster your case that, yeah, indeed it was a vehicle who fled the scene, and you can now pursue your case. Now, James, for the person who did flee the scene, how much trouble are they in?
Once again, Larry, when you asked Todd, I believe was the individual, it depends on if there was injury or not injury, because that can change drastically. So if it's just a leaving the scene charge and there's no bodily injury, then you're looking at a misdemeanor charge, which could be punishable by up to a year on a misdemeanor. But if there was injury and it was serious bodily injury, that elevates the charge to a felony at that time. And the other part is, they would still need you in some of these situations, because on a regular leaving the scene, they're not going to, restitution's not involved in the criminal part of that case. That does change when there's bodily injury and those type of things, and you can very easily be scoring prison time on a leaving the scene that involves serious bodily injury.
Yeah. Now, the comment here, and I've got to kind of stick up for the police officer a little bit here about the police officer showed up and really wasn't much help. Patrol officers aren't going to be the ones doing the heavy investigation, right?
Right. They're more of an intake person.
Okay. So give me the facts, ma'am,
yes,
or sir in this case.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because it's usually going to be somebody else that's looking into that information. That officer that's responding at that time, it's kind of get your information as much as you can give them, so then they can turn that over to somebody else.
And the same way with us. You call our office, we'll get the basic information, and then we'll send an investigator out to kind of follow up and do that. And in doing so, we're able to help out folks like Todd. And you've got a make and model and a partial plate. At least in our law firm, we have a couple of different programs that we can run it through and see if we can come up with a hit, so to speak. But also, if it's in Bay County, in other surrounding counties, there are card readers, meaning there are readers for license plate, where if you have a partial, they can run it through their system and might be able to track them down for you, Todd. We've got a call. We've got a caller on the line. Who have we got again? John. John from Mariana. How can we help you this evening?
That's me. Yes. I'm trying to find out, is it too late to sue the Marlboro companies for stage 4 lung cancer?
Stage 4 lung cancer. All right. Well, that's a civil question, and I don't know if this was John. It sounded like a female voice, but let's just kind of go with that for just a moment. It may or may not be too late, and I hate to say, as a lawyer, it depends. But the reality of it is, we need more facts. So the question is whether or not you can sue a tobacco company for stage 4 lung cancer. Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to investigate the case to see, first of all, is it a type of lung cancer that is caused by cigarettes? And so if it's small cell lung cancer, the overriding consensus in the medical community is that yes, that is what causes, the cause of that is smoking cigarettes. And then you look at, well, you got Marlboro cigarettes, you got a brand name cigarette. There is something in the state of Florida, and I presume, well, being in Mariana, I don't know if you've lived elsewhere, but in the state of Florida there's a case called the Engle case, and it basically almost foreclosed, and hear me close on this, almost foreclosed all cases if you didn't file within a certain period of time. There are exceptions to it, and that's why we need to get more information from you on that. and it depends on when you first discovered that you had lung cancer. So for instance, the Engel case, there were many cases, tens of thousands of cases that were filed in the state of Florida, and basically that case was controlling for those tens of thousands of cases. And you know, it still takes many, many years to get a tobacco case to trial. But we'd like to explore that a little bit further, get a little bit more information offline. There are things that we'll have to ask you, of course, that would be personal, and we don't want to do that on the air. So I think our director or our producer has your name and telephone number, and so we'll reach back out to you tomorrow morning and try to get some additional information from you if that's okay. Now, criminally though, there's no criminal case.
No.
No, but why? I mean, so why is that? If a product is known to be dangerous, you know, how come we can't hold a corporation responsible criminally? Now, there is a punitive damage aspect to a civil case, and in the tobacco cases, if it is a viable case, meaning a case that we can go forward with, there is a claim that would be made for punitive damages based upon what was concealed from the public. But why typically can you not sue corporations, you know, in criminal cases?
You don't really see that much. I've seen some of it where they started to try to go after some of the pharmaceutical companies, and I believe Purdue was the one where they went. You know, but it's difficult to. When you're dealing with a corporation, there's a lot of immunity there. It's hard to sit there and pin somebody down at that point in time. So it just makes it kind of difficult at that.
Yeah, and our firm's involved with the opioid litigation and the opiate litigation, and so what you're talking about there with Purdue Pharma, it's a family-owned business, so it was really easier, I should say, to say, all right, well, these are the people who made the decision, and they concealed and kept information. That, for instance, one of the big things that they concealed from the public was whether or not these opioids were addictive. Well, in their marketing literature, what they were telling their sales representatives were, you need to up the doses and you need to do it this way because it keeps people on the opioids for a longer period of time. And so if we can keep them on for a longer period of time, we'll make more money. All right, well, now you're reaching that area of culpable negligence, or, you know, I think it's what it's called under criminal law. And because they're intentionally doing that and intentionally concealing it, we can do that, or at least give it an opportunity. So same thing happens with cigarette manufacturers. It's a culpable negligence standard. There are not going to be any criminal cases involving cigarette manufacturers at this point in time. So the only thing you've got to look forward to is the civil case, and we need to explore that a little bit further, John. Okay. Did you say we're going to break? Okay, so we're going to a break, but stay tuned, stay right here, do not move or change that dial. We'll be back in just a few moments. If you're not in line right now for a telephone call, give us a call, 850-392-1544. LawCall will be back in just a moment. And good evening. Welcome back to Law Call, where we're taking your legal questions live on the air, 850-392-1544, or you can email us at lawcall@wmbb.com. That is lawcall@wmbb.com. That is worldsmostbeautifulbeaches.com. Hey, look, I'm licensed in Alabama. If you've got an Alabama question, if it's involving crime and punishment, I might muddle my way through it. I haven't practiced criminal law in, oh gosh, 20, yeah, coming up on 30 years. This was the last time I was in the courtroom on a criminal case. No, 20 years last time I was in the courtroom on a criminal case. But, you know, we deal with it on the civil side as well because we're trying to, you know, establish that level of culpable negligence or something where we can make a plea for punitive damages. In Alabama, any wrongful death case is a punitive damage case. You don't get compensation. Where in Florida you get compensation, but you don't get punitive damages unless you have the facts that you can plead to get that. Things like you know, drinking and driving, things like being under the influence, different areas of culpable negligence that are there. So let's talk about that for just a moment. We've got another email question. I don't know if we can get to that one in just a few moments. That's George. It looks like another car getting sideswiped. But before we get to that one, let's talk about culpable negligence a little bit. What does that mean in the criminal side? And because we typically say when somebody is negligent, they didn't intend to harm someone, that's not a crime. But there are areas where even though you didn't intend to harm someone, you acted in such a way that you have now become criminally responsible.
Yeah, I mean, I think
or potentially criminally responsible.
Right. I think the thing that jumps out right away is a charge like DUI manslaughter or vehicular homicide. You know, both those involve, unfortunately, a death. Vehicular homicide is an individual that's, the element is reckless, okay? So a willful and wanton disregard at that time. So an individual would be driving so reckless, that could be speed, that could be where they're speeding at, running through stop signs, those type of things that resulted in some type of accident that then caused a death.
I think on my law school exam, or not my law school exam, one of my bar exams that had to do with people racing. You know, racing, you know, throwing down and doing, you know, racing, street racing is
right.
what it was. You know, that's an opportunity there to do that. Can we go to the email question from George? We got a moment to do that? Okay. I walk out of a club and see my car was sideswiped in the parking lot. I call the police to report a hit and run. They arrived and asked if I smoked weed. I said yes a few hours ago. They asked me to get out of the car and search my vehicle without consent, stating they had probable cause. In my bag they find some ecstasy pills that someone gave me, and I didn't even know what they were. Can this be suppressed via the Fourth Amendment? I was the one who called them. I'm asking for assistance. George. Oh my goodness, George. You kind of walked into, you know, trying to get help, walked into one thing and got into something else, and it sounds like you got into a lot more than what you were bargaining for. But James, let's kind of break this down and unpack it a little bit for George. First of all, he's got a sideswipe vehicle, kind of the same thing that I talked about at the top of the show, you know, how you can do that. But you got some real serious issues here.
Yeah, it really snowballed real quick on him.
So let's talk about the criminal aspect of it. We got, you know, possession of controlled substance, which is the ecstasy pills, and, you know, you can file a motion to suppress. It's going to be up to the judge. But let's talk about some of those standards of what you got to do here.
Well, the first part is the smell of the marijuana is going to get them a little bit more to be able to sit there and search at that time. Now, it depends. When you're filing the motion, there could be some arguments on if they had a medical marijuana card. Was this the odor of fresh marijuana? Was this the odor of burnt marijuana, meaning that you had smoked it at that point in time? Because if they're smelling the marijuana, that does give them the basis to sit there and search at that time. And
without consent. I mean,
correct.
Okay, so there's a difference, though. There's a difference. Somebody asks, you know, hey, can I search your? If an officer asks, can I search your vehicle, and you say no.
Correct.
All right, but I smell. You know, the officer is now saying I smell marijuana. I don't, you know.
Right.
Please get out of the car.
Yeah. If you're voluntarily at that point, if the cop goes, "Can I search your vehicle?"
Yep.
and you say yes, okay, then you've given up any Fourth Amendment rights that you have. Okay. Now, if the officer's going, "I smell marijuana," I'm going to go ahead and search your vehicle. Then that puts you where you still may be able to attack that search. Okay,
Right.
and then from there,
There's a difference between attacking and suppressing. Suppressing is when the judge finally says so, right?
right. And the thing that people don't understand sometimes too, and they get lost, once something's suppressed, okay, that doesn't automatically throw the case out. Most of the time it will, because that's the main part of the evidence that the state is actually using against you.
Okay.
And in this scenario, because they found the ecstasy pills, that does lead us to another part where he's saying he didn't know what those were. Okay, where the state would have to actually prove at that time that he had knowledge of that, because this is what's called constructive possession. It wasn't physically on his actual person.
Well, let's talk about that, because sometimes people say, well, I was in the car with 5 people and they found marijuana under the seat, or in this case, ecstasy pills under the seat. Or I should say, I don't know where it is. It says baggie with ecstasy pills.
Yeah, we're kind of assuming that it was.
We're assuming it's not, you know, wherever it is within the car. What is constructive possession, and why does that make a difference? I mean, if it's laying over here in the studio, am I in constructive possession of it, or where does this constructive possession start and stop?
So if they did say find some drugs over there under the cabinet at that time, they have to. The state has to prove that you had dominion and control over it. Okay, so knowledge. So there's a presumption of knowledge based on the fact of your presence, but did you actually have dominion and control over what's there?
Meaning it's your vehicle, it's your apartment, something like
right.
that. Right. Okay.
And so when you have multiple people in the vehicle, and what we see a lot of times is some drugs shoved up under the seat or possibly in the center console, anybody could have actually put it there. Okay, and you don't know when somebody could have put it there. You know, the driver, just because it's his vehicle doesn't mean he actually put it there or knew it was there. He could have just went into the store. His buddy sitting there next to him could have stuffed something up under the seat, or if he's actually focused on the road and driving, the individual could have stuffed it under the seat or put it in the glove box when they're getting pulled over.
Got you. Well, George, you need an attorney. Don't try to do this yourself. Get somebody like James Dogle to help you out, because I mean, possession of a controlled substance is a serious offense. All right, so we're going to go to break.
Yeah, because you're looking at a felony charge on the...
Right. And we've got Carl when we come back. So Carl, hold on the line just a moment. So let's see, we're going to go to break. 850-392-1544 if you want to get in the queue, or email us at lawcall@wmbb.com. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back in just a moment. And we're back here at Law Call. We're not going to take the calls, but I'm going to give you the fact patterns real fast. Ann from Alford, her son was a victim of a hit and run, and she says they've been unable to find the person. So what happens in that situation? Does a person, quote, just kind of get away with it?
I mean, if they haven't been able to locate them, unfortunately they would.
Yeah. Ann, this is something that maybe, with your son being a victim of a hit and run, maybe, a personal injury law firm might be able to help you out with investigation or provide investigation services. But right now, depending on when it was and where it was, that evidence is getting colder and colder each and every day. And
especially if they haven't been able to identify who it was.
Right. So, maybe that's a lifeline to help you out. We'll give you a call tomorrow. Also, we had Donna from Houston County call in about potential defamation case, and Donna will give you a call tomorrow morning as we get up and running. We've got your information. I'm sorry we just couldn't get you on the air. Things kind of went by too quickly. I'm a little rusty. I'm sorry, Donna. Been off for a few months and just lost a little track of time. The producer's been yelling at me. We got 1 minute left to go in the show, but we got some shout outs to go with. Got some special people here just real quick. We got Super K out at Publix. She says she watches Law Call and recognized us from the billboard, so there's the selfie there. There are my ladies from Lowe's. They wanted me to remind everybody, be kind to your service people at Lowe's. They are there to help you.
Yes.
The same with Kay at Publix. She said do that. And look there, there's Roll Tide Willie. For those of you who know who Roll Tide Willie is, he wanted to get a picture with my wife, and so there he is doing that. And we want to give a great shout out. Oh, who is that family?
That's my lovely wife, my little girls, Isabella and Olivia.
Hi, Isabella. Hi, Olivia. Love y'all. Gonna have to go get corn dogs with Uncle Larry. Thought we had one more there. Did we get that one in? I guess we didn't. I want to give a congratulations to Tracy Smith, the new county judge who has been appointed. She is a former attorney at Perry & Young. We are so proud of you and happy that you're going to be serving folks here as Bay County's newest and first county court female judge. So there you go.
And she was a former prosecutor.
And a former prosecutor, and she is it, I tell you. Folks, we've enjoyed the evening. Thanks for allowing me to come back in, be in your living room tonight. Join us same time, same place next week here on Law Call. Be another host, but I'll be back soon again. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.